At some point in life, you are going to spend money. That part is unavoidable. The real question is not whether you will spend, but whether the things you buy will quietly make your life better or slowly pull money out of your future without you even noticing. This matters even more if you are just starting to earn real money, or if you recently got a raise and now have more disposable income than before. That extra money can feel exciting. It can make you want to upgrade your phone, your clothes, your car, your apartment, or your entire lifestyle. But before you spend on things that only look good from the outside, there are certain purchases that should come first because they can actually give something back. Think of these as prerequisites. They are not always flashy, they are not always impressive to other people, but they can save you money, protect your future, improve your health, and help you build a stronger daily life. The first thing I would buy is simple: a good chef's knife and a good pan. If you do not have a basic kitchen setup yet, or if you have spent most of your adult life eating out, this may be one of the highest return purchases you can make. You do not need a 6-piece knife set. You do not need an 8-piece cookware set. You do not need to become a professional chef. You only need one reliable chef's knife and one solid nonstick pan. The reason is simple. Eating out is expensive, and the numbers add up much faster than people realize. The average American spends around $350 a month eating out, which is about $4,200 a year just on restaurant meals. In expensive cities, that number can be even higher. Spending $600 or $700 a month on takeout can happen quickly when every simple meal costs $15, $18, or $20. Imagine paying $18.16 every time you want chicken over rice. It feels normal in the moment because it is convenient. But the same basic meal might cost only $4 or $5 in ingredients if you made it at home. That is where the knife and pan become powerful. A good chef's knife might cost around $50 to $100. A decent nonstick pan might cost around $30 to $50, or maybe a little more if you want something better. For roughly $150 to $200, you can create a setup that helps you cook simple meals again and again. If cooking at home saves you about $15 per meal, and you do that just 3 to 4 times per week, that is $45 to $60 saved every week. Over 1 year, that becomes roughly $2,300 to $3,100 saved from one basic kitchen setup. And you do not need to complicate it. Search for one-pan meals, and you will find endless recipes built around one knife, one pan, and a few basic ingredients. This is not about becoming perfect in the kitchen. It is about giving yourself the ability to stop paying restaurant prices every time you need dinner. The second thing I would get immediately is a cashback credit card. Technically, this is not really something you buy. And that is exactly the point. It is a basic financial tool you should have before you start spending money on anything else. If money is already going to leave your account, you might as well make sure a small piece of it comes back to you. A lot of people, especially younger people, still use a debit card for almost everything. A debit card does have one major advantage. It only lets you spend money that is actually sitting in your bank account, which makes it harder to accidentally go into debt. But the downside is that every time you use a debit card, you are usually leaving money on the table. A basic cashback credit card like a Citi Double Cash, a Wells Fargo Active Cash, or a Chase Freedom can give you around 1.5 to 2% cash back on the things you already buy. That might not sound life-changing at first, but over time, it becomes real money. The warning is important. A credit card only helps you if you are financially responsible with it. Because a credit card allows you to spend more money than you actually have in your bank account, you need to make sure you can pay it off in full every month. If you carry a balance and start paying interest, the rewards are not worth it anymore. But if you stay disciplined, the math becomes powerful. The average American household spends around $6,400 a month, or about $77,000 a year. If you earn 2% cash back on that spending, that is about $1,540 per year coming back into your wallet. Not from working more hours, not from taking another job, just from using the right payment method for spending you were already doing. There are also premium cards with travel points, annual fees, and category multipliers. Some people earn hundreds or even thousands of dollars in value through points. But if you want to keep it simple, a straightforward 2% cashback card can go a long way. The goal is not to spend more because you have a credit card. The goal is to spend exactly as you normally would, pay the card off completely, and collect the reward as a bonus. The third thing I would prioritize before almost any other purchase is contributing to a Roth IRA every single year. This is not something you can hold in your hands. It does not sit on your desk. Nobody sees it when you walk into a room. But if you are in your 20s, 30s, or even your 40s, and you have not opened a Roth IRA yet, this should probably come before many of the things you are thinking about buying. A Roth IRA is an individual retirement account that allows you to invest money you have already paid taxes on. Once that money is inside the account, it can grow tax-free. Later, when you withdraw it in retirement, you do not owe taxes on the gains. That is a massive advantage because money invested over decades does not grow in a straight line. It compounds. Your money earns returns, then those returns can earn more returns, and over 30 or 40 years, that effect can become much larger than most people expect. For example, if you are in your 20s and you are able to max out your Roth IRA at $7,500 per year, and you invest those contributions consistently into a low-cost index fund, by the time you retire at age 65, you could have roughly $1.94 million, and that money would be tax-free. That estimate assumes an average annual return of about 8%, which is based on the long-term average return of the S&P 500 after accounting for inflation. The S&P 500 is simply an index that tracks 500 of the biggest companies in the United States. Another thing that makes the Roth IRA powerful is flexibility. You can withdraw your original contributions at any time without a penalty. Not the investment gains, but the money you personally put in. That means your money is not completely locked away forever. And timing matters. Starting at 21 instead of 26 might not sound like a huge difference, but inside an investment account, 5 extra years can become extremely valuable. That gap alone could turn into tens of thousands of dollars in additional tax-free growth later in life. Opening a Roth IRA is also not complicated. You can do it through brokerages like Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard, and the process can take about 15 minutes. So here's the question. If the money you spend today could either disappear by next month or quietly grow for the next 30 years, which version of that money would your future self want you to choose? The fourth thing I would buy first is a reliable used car. A lot of people, once they start earning more money or get their first serious job after college, feel the urge to buy a brand new car. It feels like proof that life is moving forward. It feels like a reward. But a brand new car can quietly become one of the biggest financial traps in your life. These days, the average new car sells for around $50,000 MSRP, and the average new car payment in 2026 is around $750 a month. That is a huge monthly commitment, especially if you are still building savings and trying to invest. Meanwhile, a 3 to 5-year-old used car, something like a Toyota Camry, a Honda Civic, or a Mazda 3, can often be found in the $18,000 to $22,000 range. These are cars that have already taken the biggest depreciation hit, which usually happens in the first 2 to 3 years, but they still have a lot of life left in them. If they have been maintained well, reliable brands like Toyota, Honda, and Mazda can last 150,000 miles, 200,000 miles, or even more. Now look at the math. Let's say you buy a 3-year-old Toyota Camry for $20,000 instead of financing a brand new one that costs $35,000 over 72 months at a 7% interest rate. On the new car, the monthly payment would be about $527 for 6 years. By the end of the loan, you would have paid roughly $7,960 in interest. That means your $35,000 car ends up costing close to $43,000. With the used car, even if you finance it with the same terms, you are borrowing much less money. At a $20,000 price point, the payment would be about $341 a month. You would still pay interest, but the total interest would be around $4,551, which is about $3,400 less than the new car scenario. Insurance is another hidden cost. A brand new car is usually more expensive to insure than a used one. Depending on the car and where you live, you could pay $100 to $200 more per month just because you wanted the newer model. That can add another $1,200 to $2,400 per year. The goal is not to buy the cheapest broken down car you can find. The goal is to buy something dependable, practical, and affordable enough that it does not drain your bank account every month. The fifth thing I would buy first is a good mattress. This one sounds simple, but it can genuinely change your life because we spend so much time sleeping. If you live to be 80 years old, you may spend about 25 years of your life asleep. That number is almost uncomfortable to think about. If you imagine living 80 years, it feels like you get to experience 80 full years of life. But if roughly 25 of those years are spent sleeping, then your waking experience is much less. So if you are going to spend that much of your life sleeping, the thing you sleep on should not be an afterthought. When I was in my 20s, I had the cheapest mattress I could afford mindset. I would buy mattresses online without testing them first. They would arrive, I would sleep on them, and the sleep was not great. My back would hurt in the morning. I would wake up tired. Sometimes I did not even realize how bad the sleep was because I had gotten used to feeling that way. And that is the strange thing about poor sleep. You often do not fully understand what poor sleep feels like until you finally experience good sleep. At one point, I bought a mattress sight unseen, and it gave me back pain badly enough that I had to return it. Returning a mattress is strange because sometimes the company cannot simply take it back and resell it. It may go to a donation center or even to the dump. It feels wasteful, and it makes you realize that buying the wrong mattress is not just inconvenient. It is a frustrating mistake. So the smarter move is to go to a store, test the mattress, and buy something that properly supports your body. Better sleep means more energy. Your body feels better, your mind feels clearer. You may even feel more creative during the day because you are not starting every morning already tired. Many people will spend $1,200 on a new phone without thinking too deeply about it, but they hesitate to spend a similar amount on a mattress they use every single night. That does not make sense when you really think about it. A phone may entertain you, but a mattress affects your sleep, and sleep affects almost everything else. You do not need to buy the most expensive mattress in the store. The point is to buy something that actually supports your body and helps you sleep well. The sixth thing I would buy first is a great desk setup, especially if you work from home or spend any meaningful amount of time on a computer. This is one of those purchases people underestimate because it does not feel urgent. A laptop technically works, a kitchen table technically works, a cheap chair technically works, but just because something works does not mean it is helping you perform at your best. One of the biggest unlocks is getting an external monitor, or even better, having two monitors. It sounds simple, but the difference can be huge. When you have more screen space, you can see more of your work at once. You are not constantly switching between tiny windows, losing track of tabs, or hunching over a small laptop screen for hours. Even if a better desk setup only makes you 5 to 10% more productive, think about what that could mean over a long period of time. If you are doing better work, finishing faster, thinking more clearly, and staying more organized, that can affect your career and your income. There is also the physical side. If you are looking down at a 13-inch laptop screen for 8 hours, your body's going to feel it. Your neck gets tight, your shoulders round forward, your back starts hurting. You may end the day with headaches, stiffness, or that drained feeling that comes from fighting your own environment all day. That is why an external monitor can matter. That is why a standing desk can matter. That is why a good desk chair can matter. A standing desk can help you change positions during the day instead of staying locked in one posture for hours. It can support better energy, better mood, better circulation, better posture, and less lower back pain. And a good chair matters for the same reason a good mattress matters. If you are going to spend 6 to 8 hours a day doing something, the setup supporting your body should not be the cheapest thing you could find. So here's the bigger question. If a few smart upgrades could make you more focused, more productive, and less physically drained, how much could that change your work and your income over the next 5 or 10 years? The seventh thing I would spend money on first is your own education or your own skills. I do not necessarily mean going back to school, getting another degree, or spending years in a classroom again. What I mean is more practical. If you are deliberately spending money to make yourself more valuable, that is usually one of the best decisions you can make. The reason is that skill building has asymmetric upside. A good knife and pan might save you a few $1,000s a year. A reliable used car might save you tens of thousands of dollars compared to buying something brand new. Those are powerful decisions, but the savings are still capped. But when you improve your skills, you may be able to change the income trajectory of your entire life. Let's say you currently make $55,000 a year at your job. Then you spend $500 on a Google certificate course in something like data analytics, project management, or AI. These courses can usually be completed in a few months, and many employers recognize them. If that certificate helps you land a role paying $65,000 or $75,000 a year, then that $500 investment did not just pay for itself, it may have created a massive return. And the best part is that the new income does not happen only one time. That higher salary becomes your new base. It becomes the starting point for your next raise, your next negotiation, or your next job move. That is how skills compound. Sometimes these courses do not even cost much money. In some cases, you may be able to find professional certificate programs for free, like a Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate on Coursera. So the real barrier is not always money. A lot of the time, the real barrier is deciding to keep learning after school is over. The world keeps changing. New tools appear. New technologies become important. New job opportunities open up for people who are curious enough to keep adapting. So if you are going to spend money on yourself, make sure at least some of it goes toward becoming more capable. The eighth thing I think everyone should buy early is at least one great personal finance book. This might sound too simple because so much information is already available for free online. You can watch videos, read articles, listen to podcasts, and learn from people sharing their financial experiences every day. But there is something different about having one solid personal finance book that you can return to again and again. A good book gives you a framework. It does not just give you one tip, one trick, or one random idea. It helps you build a way of thinking about money. Some of the best personal finance books are The Millionaire Next Door, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Each one teaches money from a different angle. One helps you understand how many wealthy people actually live. One helps you understand the emotional and behavioral side of money. And one gives a more practical structure for managing your financial life. The reason this matters is that financial illiteracy is expensive. According to the National Financial Educators Council, the average American lost over $1,100 in 2024 because of a lack of financial literacy. That loss can come from bad debt decisions, unnecessary fees, missed investment opportunities, or simply not knowing what to do with money once it comes in. And the sad part is that financial literacy is not taught well in most schools. Many people graduate without knowing how credit card interest works, how investing works, how fees eat into returns, or how lifestyle inflation can trap them even when their income rises. For many people, their first financial education comes from their parents. If their parents had good money habits, that can be a blessing. But if their parents struggled with money or never learned how to invest, those habits can be passed down unintentionally. That is why buying one good personal finance book can be so valuable. A book might cost $20 or $30, but if that book helps you avoid one bad debt decision, one unnecessary fee, one poor investment choice, or one lifestyle mistake, it has already paid for itself many times over. The ninth thing I would spend money on first is your health, specifically spending money on your health proactively. This is one of those areas where waiting too long can become extremely expensive. When you spend money reactively on your health, especially after something has already gone wrong, it usually costs far more than it would have cost to reduce the risk earlier. Think about something simple like sun protection. If you never put sunscreen on your skin or your face, and years later you are diagnosed with skin cancer, now you are dealing with treatment, appointments, stress, medical bills, and a problem that may have been easier to prevent in the first place. The same idea applies across many parts of health. Preventive care is usually less dramatic and less urgent, but that is exactly why people skip it. Nobody feels a rush of excitement from scheduling an annual physical, going to the dentist twice a year, or seeing a physical therapist before they are injured. But those boring decisions can protect you later. Emergency care in the United States can be incredibly expensive. Some people have seen emergency room bills reach tens of thousands of dollars. Even when insurance adjusts a large part of the bill, the experience still shows how expensive health problems can become once they turn into a crisis. Some of the best health purchases are the ones that help you catch problems early. That might mean getting an annual physical. It might mean going to the dentist twice a year. It might mean paying for a few preventive physical therapy sessions so someone can notice a muscle imbalance, a movement issue, or a small problem that could become chronic later. A physical therapy session might cost $75 to $150. That may feel expensive if you are not in serious pain yet, but if it helps you avoid years of back pain, knee pain, shoulder problems, or a future injury, that money may be extremely well spent. Mental health matters too. A lot of people skip therapy because they think they do not need it or because they believe they should handle everything alone. But the cost of not managing your mental health can show up in your relationships, your productivity, your decisions, and your money. For example, imagine someone who loses money investing and then immediately starts chasing losses to win it back. That emotional reaction can turn investing into something closer to gambling. If that pattern is not addressed, it could cost thousands of dollars or more over a lifetime. In that situation, therapy is not just a luxury, it may be a necessity. So before we move into the final item, ask yourself this. If a small health decision today could prevent a much bigger problem years from now, why wait until your body forces you to pay attention? The 10th thing I would buy first is an excellent pair of everyday shoes. By now you can probably see the pattern. If your body spends a lot of time doing something, it makes sense to spend money on the thing that supports your body while you do it. That is why a good mattress matters. That is why a good desk chair matters. And that is why a good pair of everyday shoes matters too. A lot of people treat shoes like they are all the same. They buy a cheap $40 pair from a fast fashion brand, or they order something random online because it looks fine and the price is low. At first, it may feel like a smart decision. Shoes are just shoes, right? But cheap shoes usually come with a hidden cost. They can fall apart quickly, they can hurt your feet, they can affect your knees, your back, and even the way your whole body feels at the end of the day. And when they wear out fast, you are forced to buy another pair, then another pair, then another pair. Before long, you are stuck in a cycle where you keep buying 4, 5, or 6 cheap pairs every year instead of buying one better pair that actually lasts. A good everyday shoe might cost $100 to $150. That could be something like New Balance, On Footwear, Asics, or just a solid pair of comfortable white sneakers from a brand that actually invests in materials and support. The exact brand is not the main point. The main point is that your shoes should help your body feel better, not punish it every time you walk. This matters even more if you do manual labor, stand for long hours, walk a lot, or work on your feet. When your feet feel good, your legs feel better. When your legs feel better, your hips and back feel better. And when your whole body feels better, your day feels different. So if you are going to spend money, spend it on things that quietly improve your daily life. Buy the kitchen tools that help you stop wasting money on takeout. Use the right card if you can handle it responsibly. Fund the retirement account that lets your money grow tax-free. Choose the reliable used car instead of the expensive status symbol. Sleep on a mattress that supports you. Build a desk setup that helps you work better. Invest in skills that can raise your income. Read books that improve your financial decisions. Take care of your health before it becomes an emergency. And wear shoes that support the body carrying you through all of it. Because spending money is not the problem. Everyone spends money. The real problem is spending money in a way that leaves you weaker, poorer, more tired, or more dependent than before. If you are going to spend, at least spend on the things that give something back. Spend on the things that save you money, protect your health, increase your earning power, and make your life easier in ways you can feel every day. That is how you turn ordinary purchases into better decisions. And if you have your own list of things people should buy first, share it in the comments. I would love to know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and what you think should have been on this list. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.